Each and every Monday is $9 Monday at WagerTalk.com. All daily picks packages are priced at only $9, including $40 5% best bets. As an added bonus, all new users will receive $25 in wager bucks credited to their accounts, available for immediate use after their initial $9 Monday purchase. So make sure to take advantage of $9 Mondays at WagerTalk.com.
Teddy Covers, it's me, Lawrence Presman. Welcome, everybody, to WagerTalk Today. It's a Monday, an awesome show lined up for you all. Right off the bat, Marco D'Angelo, my co-founder and partner in crime, just totally in the zone in NBA right now on a 10-1 run. He's going to look at the Oregon State-Houston game, New Orleans versus Boston, and Sacramento at San Antonio. Teddy is going to cover the Baylor game in his big game breakdown. And Bryan Leonard at the bottom of the hour. We're going to talk some baseball and some hockey. Teddy, I got some stuff I want to talk about before we bring Marco in. But first and foremost, how are you? How was your weekend? And I love you, man. I feel mushy today, Teddy.
That's because you're stuck at home instead of being at Whistler, where you wanted to be this week. So you're feeling all maudlin on us. My weekend, let's put it this way. I'm leading the bad beat segment today, and it wasn't a bad beat in my favor. So I'm not thrilled about what happened over the course of the last 24 hours, at least. How about yourself, Prez?
Well, I'm going to give everybody an update real quick, and then I want to talk about Bruce Buffer for a second. So the update is my 20-year-old daughter had her boyfriend come over last Tuesday, and he ended up testing positive for COVID. He's fine. So all six of us, Vivian, me, my two daughters, her two sons, are now quarantining all together for 14 days. I want to cry. I have no words, but we all did get tested. And although my test isn't back, everybody else was negative. However, we have to stay in quarantine regardless for 14 days. So missed out on Whistler. They got 16 inches of fresh snow last night. I'm sick to my stomach, but what can you do? Teddy, did you watch the MMA fights on Saturday night?
I did not.
Francis, the new heavyweight world champ, is such a beast. I cannot imagine anyone beating this guy, although it will happen. It's fighting. But, I mean, this guy is an absolute animal. But what I wanted to talk about was Vivian and I rented the fights. We watched them on TV. And Bruce Buffer's opening. Teddy, could you imagine if I did your bad beat segment like this? Ladies and gentlemen, Teddy. I mean, dude, this thing went on for 10 freaking minutes. 10 minutes. He stretched every syllable to where he ran out of breath. He came up with it's time. I mean, who wants to listen to this shit? How do these Buffer guys have jobs? Just get the two guys in the ring, put the tail of the tape up, introduce them quick, and let them fight. In 10 minutes, Teddy. 10 minutes. That's it for me. I was so annoyed. I've been waiting I've been waiting to talk to somebody about this because it's insane.
So let's start with this. All right. It's not insane. Clearly, there's a benefit to it. All right. Clearly, they like the concept of hyping the fight that they're about to show. And when you have an announcer that can hype a fight, that hypes the fight because it gets you ready to rumble. What are you talking about?
Vivian and I were ready to turn the TV off. Like, literally,
No,
we were questioning whether to make it to the fight.
And you did.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you, man, I thought I was born to do Bruce Buffer's job, and I would not stretch every syllable for eons until people were sick to their stomach. Anyway, that's my take on Bruce Buffer. I don't get it. What the hell happened in sports this past weekend, Teddy?
Sure, let's do a little bad beats, bad bets.
Do it Bruce Buffer style.
Yeah. Let's get ready for bad beats. So, like I said at the top, there was a bad beat that wasn't. The Oregon State Loyola under 125. That game was 45-39 with under 5 to play. 84 points. There's no sweat at all. And then all of a sudden, it's scramble points galore. 65-58 final. Yeah, that's 39 points in the last 4.5 minutes of a dead nuts under game. It turned an easy winner to a sweat and a half, but it still finished 123 and stayed under the total. That wasn't the case last night. Bad beat that was with UCLA Alabama with a total 145. You guys saw it. There was incredible execution on the final possession in regulation. UCLA, and of course, UCLA didn't foul. You know, Mick Cronin after the game, I'm a foul guy. My biggest concern was that when we went to foul, they were going to shoot a half-court shot, and they're going to foul shooting a 3-point shot. Obviously, you get 3 free throws in that situation. But up 3 with 0.4 seconds left, UCLA doesn't foul, and Alabama hits the 3. And it wasn't anybody. It was their 8th leading 3-point shooter, and Alex Reese drains the 28-footer. Game with an OT side, 65 apiece, and flies over the total. Under dies overtime. Of course, we're unders go to die. No good if you had the Bruins and the Crimson Tide under the total yesterday. That was a bad beat. Couple of bad bets. Let's see. The Villanova-Baylor total got steamed up. 136.5 up to 142.5. It landed 113. And Florida State. I mean, there was a ton of Florida State money. The pros liked them. The Joes liked them. Opened as high as +6. There weren't many of them. They got bet down early, but it closed at +2. Michigan blew them out. And a couple of bad for the books. Baylor, -6.5 up to -8. They beat Nova by 11. Oral Roberts, +12 down to +11. They were a public dog, lost by only 2 to Arkansas. A 4-point move to the under as well. That was bad for the books. It cashed 72-70 final. The wise guys moved on Houston up to 6.5 against Syracuse. The Cougs won by 16. Wise guys moved on USC in revenge for the Pac-12 title they felt was stolen from them. Pick them to -2. They beat Oregon by 16 and won from the NBA yesterday. That was bad for the books. The Raptors opened the favorite. They closed the dog. No Kyle Lowry for Toronto. He mattered. Portland won the game by 5. That's a bad result for the house. So there you have it, Prez. Bad beats, bad bets, and bad for the Bucks. Back to you.
Oh, I feel a theme in this show, Teddy. Covers. Okay, let's bring him in. Marco D'Angelo, co-founder of WagerTalk, partner in crime, amateur poker player, beginner Jedi, but on a 10-1 NBA run. Marco, how are you, my friend? How was your weekend?
Well, first thing, what I took from the first segment, Prez, listening to you with your rant, you can never, ever, ever again bitch about me rambling too much on a pick analysis again, okay?
My show, Marco. My show. I get to piss on you all day long.
It was a bittersweet weekend. I had a great Saturday, hit 5% play, easy winner, no sweat with Houston. And then full disclosure, I had a dismal Sunday. I was 2-0 on Saturday, 0-3 on Sunday. So that was my weekend. NBA has been on an incredible run. And if you want to get on a run in the NBA, doing it at the end of the season when you're getting ready to head into the playoffs, that's a good time to do it. So, I'm happy with that. And let's finish out, the Elite Eight.
I know nobody asked how my weekend was betting-wise, but I did not lose one single hockey game and only lost 2 games Altogether, I had a 9-2 weekend. My runs are ridiculous right now. I'm on a 49-17 hockey run, a 23-9 NBA 4% run. I am up 100% return on investment in the month of March, and I am 70 wins and 35 losses in the month of March. Marco, I think that might be the best month I've ever had in my life. I'm not even kidding. I don't like over those many plays.
I'd like to bust your stones and say you didn't set the bar that high to have your best month, but you're running way too good for me to bust your stones. It's an incredible run,
baby.
Prez, and well-deserved, sir. And I'll tell you what, for the listeners, I would stay locked into Prez right now because I know if I was quarantined with 4 teenagers, I would be burying my face in the stats. You wouldn't see me for probably 13 of the 14 days.
And the great thing is baseball is just about to start. So I'm like, sorry, guys, I got 300 teams to research because I got to research the minor leagues too in case somebody moves up. Anyway, let's get into it. Marco, Oregon State versus Houston, -7.5 for Houston, over 129, under 129. Where are you going in this game, brother?
Yeah, I'm going to look at the total in this one, guys, and it's going to be a little bit of a contrarian play because we saw in the first 2 days this week the same pattern we saw last week. We saw a lot of unders in the first half, saw most of the games go to the under, unless, as Teddy pointed out, we had some bad beats and go to overtime and such, and flurry of scoring late. But that's what we kind of expected. Now this is the quick turnaround. You've got 1 day in between, and I think you're going to see more scoring. But before everybody starts jumping on me, I got to mention it. Yeah, there's a change of venue for all of the games today and tomorrow. Everybody's going to be playing at Lucas Oil. So you will have different sight lines, a bigger arena, actually a stadium. So that's going to be awful for the starts of the game, I think. Once again, you'll see slow starts in these games. But because we've seen so many unders, we're continuing to see them adjust the totals. And I think this one's adjusted a little bit too much. We look at the Saturday game between Loyola and Oregon State. Those were 2 very, very good defensive teams, and they had a week to prepare their game plans. If you watch that game, they were 6 minutes into the game, and there was only 8 points scored. It was a 7-1 score at the 14-minute mark. That wouldn't surprise me to see a low start again, and so here's what I'm going to do. I do think this game's going over the total, but I'm going to play half of my wager on the full game for the under. But then I'm going to sit there and watch the start of this game very closely. And if we get that traditional slow start that we see in all of these games, I'm going to jump in on the live betting and get the rest of my bet. I'll keep creeping it up over those first, 4 to 7 minutes of the game where you get the adjustment and lock in some better numbers. So I have a full wager at different numbers. And to give you some stats here with this one, Oregon State, they're coming off a sensational game. Once again, Oregon State's playing as good as anybody right now. We smashed the Pac-12 all year long, but man, they're getting it done. But if you look this year, whenever they're coming off an upset win and they're playing on the road, they've gone 7-1 to the over this year. And Oregon State, we talked about that low-scoring first half. Well, over the last 3 seasons, if they've held an opponent to 25 points or less in the first half, they're 11-3 to the over in the next game. I'm going to take the value. It's going to be the kind of the contrarian play, but I'm taking this one over the total for my wager here.
So it was certainly an under weekend, Marco. And if you're looking for one broad theme for the Sweet 16 games, it was poor 3-point shooting. I believe in the aggregate, the teams in the Sweet 16 shot 27% from beyond the arc. And that's, counting every team and every 3-point shot. Is that something you're expecting? I mean, clearly, if you like the over, you're expecting that to regress to the mean. But if you have good defensive teams and bad sight lines, how confident are you that the three-point shooting comes back today?
Well, Teddy, you've got to expect it to come back some. And one of the reasons is going to be in the second game, you don't have as much time to prepare and get the game plan. Yeah, you worked on both possible opponents a little bit during the week, but it's still your final game prep. But on the same token, and you talked about the poor three-point shooting, Loyola against Oregon State was one of the worst. They were 5 of 23 in that game, just 21.7% from the three-point range. If I'm a coach too, don't you draw up some more plays where you're not settling for the threes and you are trying to kick the ball down inside or maybe do the inside out to get a better look for your 3 points? So you got to have some adjustments. And I just think too that, the quick turnaround, I always say it, Teddy. I don't know if you subscribe to the same philosophy, but tired teams don't play as good a defense as rested teams. And when you have a full week between games, it's a difference on the defensive end. Now you've got the quick turnaround. I get that these are 20-year-old kids and they're supposed to bounce right back, but I'm sorry, the numbers have shown us over the years that's not the case.
Marco D'Angelo, everybody. Marco, let's get to some NBA, and I am going to personally request that you keep these down to about a minute each so that Teddy can then talk. I know, listen, I mean, your voice is stunning. It turns you on. I get it. But that first take, I mean, I texted with both my children, checked my COVID results, and put up an NBA play. New Orleans at Boston. The Celtics, you sent them in at -4, Marco. They're now -2. The total is 230.5. Side or total, bro? Where are you going?
Well, I was on the side here, and full disclosure, I sent the plays in late last night when the line was for the game. But we've had an injury this morning update for the Celtics, so that changes things dramatically, and they're down to a 2-point favorite. The play for me, Teddy, in Prez, this is one of my situational spots, and it was an automatic play for me because Boston's returning home from the 4-game road trip. I like going against the home team that first game back, and that's the spot we get with the Pelicans. The other reason that I like taking the Pelicans plus the points here is this is a team that's playing good basketball right now. They've won 3 of their last 4 games, but more importantly, they have shot 3 straight games better than 50% from the field. They're getting it done. But most of the season, when you talked about the Pelicans, the joke was you just blindly bet the overs in their games because they were playing no defense. All of a sudden, last 5 games, no one has scored more than 113 points against them, and they've averaged over that 5-game period 107 points per game. They're basing numbers for the full season. I have a lean to the under in this game as well, but I'm going to go ahead and take New Orleans plus the points here right now. It's a strange thing to say, but the Pelicans currently are playing better defense than the Celtics, and I can get points with the team playing good basketball and better defense. That's where I'm at. New Orleans, but I will say this play gets tapered a little bit because I lost a little bit of line value, even though we get the benefit of a player out for Boston.
Yeah, I mean, Jaylen Brown is certainly an impact player for the Celtics, but I ran into a couple of Celtics quotes that made me think Boston might be a bet on team tonight, not a bet against team coming home off a successful road trip. Marcus Smart. We feel good. We don't feel great. We don't feel like we're not complacent. We're not done. We're not satisfied. This is just a start for us. That's from Marcus Smart, who's the clear locker room leader on that team. Brad Stevens talked about the Oklahoma City game. That was one that we had to find a way because we can't keep going back and forth. We got to establish some momentum here. It feels to me like there's a real sense of urgency with the Celtics tonight. I don't know that I get that sense from the Pelicans. Are you worried about that at all?
Well, I will say there is one angle that concerns me, Teddy, and I'll throw this one out to you as well. Boston's sitting at 23-23. There's that little motivation when you have a chance to get over the 500 mark. But I do that more. Like there was a game last week where the Knicks were sitting at 500 and had a chance to go over 500. Well, they're a team that hadn't been over 500 this late in the season in a long time. So it was more of a motivational factor. And that's why I chose to ignore it with Boston tonight, because this is a team that's been a playoff team year in and year out for how many years. So it's not as big of a motivational edge, but it's been a disappointment of a season. So yes, that's one thing that I did put on the con list for me as far as going against Boston tonight.
Marco, one last game. Let's talk about Sacramento and San Antonio. -2.5, a total of 228. I know you like the total. Tell us why and where which way, bro? Which way?
We're going under in this one, guys, and this is another one I'm going to stay with the same theme. During the course of the season in the NBA, there's going to be ebbs and flows to every team. But the numbers and the lines, those are based basically on season-long numbers, unless there was a trade or a major injury that changes the total complexion of the team. Sacramento was an over team all season long. They're not playing that way right now. This is a team that over their last 10 games, 7-2-1 to the under. And I joked about the Pelicans and saying the word defense and them in the same sentence. Well, that's the same thing with this team. And because they're playing better defense right now, it's translated into a 6-1 straight up record. I'm going to look at this one under the total. The Spurs are a team that do play to unders. In fact, if you look at the Spurs in the last 8 games, only 2 teams have scored more than 110 points. In fact, 3 times in those games, they held opponents to under 100 points. How often do you see an NBA team not scoring 100 points this year? So we clearly have 2 teams that are trending under right now, but we're seeing a number based on season-long numbers. I'll take the under in the Sacramento game.
Awesome stuff, Marco. Guys, it's $9 Mondays over at WagerTalk. You get anybody's plays for $9. I've got 2 hockey plays up for tonight, a side and a total. And I have a 3-pack in the NBA. And you can get all 3 of those NBA plays for $9. Marco, what is on card for you?
So far, I have 1 play. It is a college basketball play. I do like the other game that we didn't talk about tonight. You can head over to a WagerTalk, pick that up for $9. I'm still working the NBA card. I may have an NBA play up later as well.
Awesome stuff. And guys, remember, Marco's on a 10-1 NBA run. Please, everybody, hit that like button. Only 38 likes so far. Let's go. 300 of you watching. We need the help. It's all we ask. And we're under 100 away from 70,000 subscribers to our channel. Lots of love to all of you guys. Can't thank you enough. Marco, get out of here. Teddy, warm up those pipes. We're right back. Teddy's Big Game Breakdown. Bryan, Leonard, the penalty box segment, and so much more.
Lock in all sports, all plays, all 5% best bets for the next 30 days from your favorite WagerTalk handicapper for only $1.99 versus the regular price of $3.49 for a total savings of $1.50. Prices are already discounted across the board and no coupon is required. Just head over to WagerTalk.com, pick your favorite handicapper in the experts menu, and lock them in for 30 days across all sports for only $1.99.
It is time for today's big game breakdown. Let's talk Baylor and Arkansas tonight. Elite 8 matchup. And like the guys often say, or sometimes say, Ralph says it a lot. He's like, this is my service play. Don't go buy it. So this is my service play. Don't go buy it. Baylor currently, again, 7.5, 8-point favorites, total 148.5. There's a couple of 149s out there, but the prevailing number, 148.5 as we speak. So Baylor has survived and advanced throughout this tournament, despite they haven't necessarily played their best defensively. They certainly haven't shot well. They were able to win and cover against Villanova, shooting 3 of 19 from three-point range. All right. And that is a rarity for a good three-point shooting team. And look, they had good looks against Nova. Some of them came off the dribble. Baylor's a pretty good three-point shooting team off the dribble, but by and large, they had open looks that were well-designed plays that just didn't go down. I don't expect that to be a long-term problem, even if Arkansas tries to mix up their coverages. When we look on the other side of the basketball, all right, it's a Baylor team that is absolutely elite on the defensive end. And again, in all NCAA tournament games so far, they've held opponents below 1 adjusted point per possession, which is the definition of an elite defense. Arkansas is a dangerous offensive team, all right? And they pound the ball into the paint fairly effectively, but can't do that effectively against Baylor. No one's been able to do that effectively against Baylor, which means Arkansas likely to be shooting a fair few three-point jumpers tonight. And that's not their strength. It really isn't. What are they? 188th in the country in three-point accuracy, 252 in three-point attempts. They're not normally looking to let loose from three, and yet this is a game they're going to have to do that. Now, you might make a case, hey, if Baylor played Arkansas 10 times, they're going to win 8 of them if they don't allow Arkansas to get hot from the three-point line, and the put everything out to the perimeter for Arkansas is a concern because obviously if the Razorbacks are hitting threes, they're going to be in this game right through the end, but they're not a great three-point shooting team. I think Baylor's going to get their points fairly easily. And I think there is, like I say, a class difference between these two teams, but Baylor is a legit number 1 seed. I think they show it tonight. Give me the Bears minus the points against the Razorbacks. I think Arkansas and Eric Musselman and company go home here. Baylor's the play, and that's your big game breakdown. Back to you, Mr. Prez.
$7,000 on Teddy for the Bears. Okay, you got it, Teddy. The Bears it is. Bryan Leonard joining us. Bri, it's been a couple of weeks, man, but I got to tell you something. Last time you were on this show, you swept. Everything that came out of your mouth hit. We tweeted about it. We spoke about it the next day. I'm hoping it's the same again, bro. Welcome to WagerTalk Today. How are you?
I wish I'd have been on the show the last few days. My hockey plays have been in the dumpster the last few days, but I didn't realize that. But I appreciate the promos. That's nice.
Hey, Bryan, I can't fully see, but is that a Jim the Anvil Neinhardt going, or is it short?
Is what now?
This. Is it long?
It's getting there. And when you never leave the house, these things tend to happen. I don't need to shave because nobody sees me. Other than you guys, and you're in the same boat as I am.
Yeah, well said. I think you should grow it nice and long, dude. Full on, like braids, the works.
I'd like
anyway,
that.
Everybody, Bryan Leonard with us. And Bryan, let's start right off the bat with baseball because, I mean, you are well known for betting baseball and just so good at it. You really stay away from a lot of the favorites. Just give us a real quick synopsis of your approach to betting baseball. If clients buy you, say, for a month or a season, what are they going to get? What are you looking for, etc.?
Yeah, you get kind of a reputation about being an underdog player, but when I'm betting, I look for both sides. I'm looking for value. Just the thing with hockey and baseball, number one, they're money line sports. Number two is any team can beat any other team any single day, especially in baseball when you've got 5 different starters, and usually on the season you'll have 10 different starters taking a shot. So you have to handicap the games a little bit differently. Your best teams in baseball are going to win 60% of the time. Your worst teams are going to win 40% of the time. You don't find that in the NFL. You don't find that in the NBA, which is why I like betting on baseball. You could find your spots. You've got a 162 game season. Not every team is up for every single game. When you're traveling in baseball, you're traveling every 4 or 5 days, depending on how long your series is. So it's totally different than it is in other sports, like in NBA and hockey, where in a normal season in hockey, you'd be traveling pretty much every day.
So let me ask you this, Bryan, because it seems to me like there's two basic types of baseball bettors. There are watchers and there are stat crunchers. But I think you're a little bit of both. Am I correct in that? And that you're someone that takes some from column A and some from column B? Because there aren't many bettors that I know that actually do that. The stat crunchers crunch stats and don't worry about the games, and the game watchers watch the games and don't worry about the stats. You managed to combine the two. Explain it.
Yeah, you do. And I think that's the way to take a look at it. You always want to take a look at your stats. And baseball, I love. I've got a math background in baseball. I love because there's so many different stats in which to handicap the games. And especially on offensively, it's not a team sport on offense for the most part. Back in the olden days when you'd bunt a guy over to second and you'd give him the steal sign and that kind of thing. Nowadays, these guys are just swinging for the fences. So it's not a team game offensively, which is really strange compared to every other sport you play. You play basketball, you have to have a guy to get you the rebound, a guy to give you the pass. Same with hockey. In baseball, it's an individual pitcher against the batter. Yeah. And that's something that you can really take advantage of. That's why I like to watch the games, because I can see how an umpire is calling the game. If he's giving the outside corner to these pitchers, if he's not, you can really make some good money betting live in baseball because of these things. You go into the game and you expect a certain thing to happen. Well, as the game goes on, maybe it doesn't happen. And you're watching this game and the players are complaining to batters, are complaining to the umpire that they're not getting it, or the pitchers are not getting it. He's not going to change his strike zone in that same game. You have to make that adjustment. And if you've got a guy on the mound that can't throw strikes and he's not calling those ones on the corner, you play that over as much as you can.
Bryan, one last baseball question, then we'll get to a couple of hockey bets, some actionable info for tonight's card. I felt like a lot changed last year in baseball. I mean, we saw a slow build towards it. But I mean, last year, when you're looking at like just amazing baseball experts like Koken, Tony Finn, etc., yourself, there were a lot of people playing the first 5 innings because, the pitching has just changed. Pitchers are being pulled after 4. The bullpen becomes sort of the key. Is this trend going to continue through the year? I mean, are you looking at this like it's again going to be a year of first 5 inning bets?
It's really strange. I've had this conversation with Marco D'Angelo, who does play a lot of 5 inning bets, and he complains about the bullpens. And I just assume the bullpens are going to do what they're going to do. They're up and down all season long. But the problem by playing something in the first 5 innings, now I know why you want to play it. You want to play starter on starter. But from an offensive standpoint, if you've got the better team, you've got the better offense, the more innings you play, the better it is for that team. So if I'm looking to play a first 5 inning, I want to do it basically where I've got, maybe the ace of the Orioles going against like the 4th guy for the Yankees. That way you're getting a nice plus price and you don't have to worry about the bullpens, which the Yankees can buy whatever bullpen prices they want. Same with the Dodgers. But you get that because the hitters got less chances to bat. And so we know if these teams are going to bat 100 innings, the Yankees are going to win. If a team plays 1 inning, 5 inning offensively, it's more of a chance for the underdog to come through. So I look at it a little bit differently. Other guys are looking at it because they want to capture that starting pitcher. I want to capture the lesser offense in less innings because you're going to get a nice payoff off of that.
Man, that is such a great point, Bryan. Let's get into some hockey, man. And let's talk about this New York Islander-Pittsburgh game. Man, it is a rare day when the Islanders let 6 goals in one game. I don't know when the last time that happened was. And not only that, they lost the game. I got to believe this is a great spot for the New York Islanders.
Yeah, it is. And well, it's not a great spot for the Islanders, but this is one of the games that I'm looking to play today. Um, Teddy talked about in his last segment, don't buy this. Well, this is my play for today up on the site. I did play the Islanders. Now, from a spot standpoint, yes, you have a team that gave up 6 goals. The last time they gave up 6 goals was the first month of the season. They have not given up more than that all season long. That's an advantage for the Islanders because they're going to bounce back here a little bit. But you look at the Islanders, this is their, this is their 4th straight road game at 3 different cities. So they're a little bit tired here. Where you look at Pittsburgh, they played 5 straight at home. So the rest advantage is definitely there for Pittsburgh. And that is an advantage for them. But the Islanders coming off of that terrible game, last game on this road trip, I think we're going to get a good spot for the Islanders here. If you take a look at these two teams so far on the season, the Islanders 5-on-5, much better than Pittsburgh. The Islanders on the power play, much better than Pittsburgh. Neither team has done very well on the penalty kill. So the Islanders are the better team, coming off an embarrassing loss. Yes, they're a little bit tired, and Pittsburgh hasn't left home, but this line is very fair here. The Islanders, without the rest situation here, will probably be about a 130, 135 favorite. So I'll play the Islanders here basically at a pick 'em.
So in the NBA bubble, I had a lot of success because things were different than they normally are. All right. Both of you guys are having killer NHL seasons. Is part of that because the schedule is it like every team's playing the same team again and again and again? Is it the nuance of this year that's helping you win in the NHL? Is this the kind of thing that we would expect to continue because the handicaps themselves are easier because of the nuances of the schedule? How are you guys doing it? Right.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Well, first off, these teams know each other far better than they do anybody else. So you have to take a look at it. And I said this before the season, when you've got teams in their own division, and Prez is a Toronto fan, he knows there's only like 2 or 3 teams in that division they're going to get up for. Being a Vegas fan, I know it's going to be Colorado, probably St. Louis and Minnesota out here in the West. So if they were to lose one of those games, they can't afford to lose 2. So if you're playing a back-to-back and they lose that first game, these teams are all pretty equal. You know what kind of look you're going to get out of that second game. Where you find your value on the underdogs is when a team plays, for example, Vegas plays St. Louis 2 games, but they play Colorado 2 games, and then they're playing 2 games against LA. Well, they're not going to have the same excitement to play LA. So if you look, they played LA pretty good this year. LA's been very equal to them. They haven't won as many games, but you watch these games, they're right there. So I like to play these teams, the lesser teams, when they're playing a big team in a sandwich situation, either before or after the top teams in the league.
Bryan, listen, I know we want to talk Edmonton, Toronto, but you just made such a perfect segue into this Colorado-Anaheim game. So, I mean, really quick, there's so much money coming in on Colorado right now. It's insane. It's like Bruce Buffer is literally standing at the sportsbook going, please bet Colorado. -4 freaking hundred. This is a perfect spot for Anaheim. I am not suggesting that they're going to win, but they have beat Colorado already, and Colorado has just come off of 2 big series. -400. Are you going to sprinkle a little bit on the Ducks?
I think I'll take the +1.5 here. I don't think Colorado's going to lose, but you're getting a nice number here on Anaheim. And to me, Anaheim's the worst team in the division. There's no doubt about it. But the way they play is they're more of a defensive team where they just won't let the opposition get the better of them. It's going to be a low-scoring game. At least you could expect it to be that way. It's 5.5 right now, I believe. And 5.5 slightly to the over. But yeah, Colorado coming off of those games. Now, I would have preferred Colorado would have beaten Vegas the last game. That would have made a little bit of a difference, but we probably wouldn't see this line. But I played Boston yesterday, and I'm kicking myself right now because I did. They dominated the game, didn't score a single goal, lose 1-0. That's why baseball and hockey are so good for underdogs.
I felt like Boston scored 2, just neither counted.
Yeah, it really
the
did.
The second one was super close. What a freaking ending. Bryan, I'm with you. I love that +1.5 for Anaheim. That's a great call. And maybe Anaheim in the first period. Anyway, let's talk Edmonton-Toronto real quick. I know you like the under. So do I. I'll be talking about it in the penalty box segment. You tell us why.
Yeah, I'll let you do most of the explaining. You take a look at the stats. They're both very good offensively on the 5-on-5. They've both got a really good power play. They both are lousy on the penalty kill. So the first thing you think of would be over. But this is a playoff type atmosphere, and you're getting these teams with a 6.5. And I know we both do the Buck Time show, and Andrew has talked about 6.5. 6.5 overs have been the death knell this year. You know, most people would think it's an easy over, and you're just losing. I'm not going to bet into a losing subset like that. So it's not very strong for me as a play, but it is a lean on the under between these two.
Awesome stuff, Bryan. Really great having you on the show. It's $9 Mondays, everybody. Bryan already gave out his hockey play for free. Anything else you got going?
Well, we got a great deal for baseball season coming up on Thursday. A package deal between Dwayne Bryant, who's been terrific on totals, and that's really basically what he bets. And I've been the #1 baseball handicapper in profit the last 4 years, and I play mostly sides. So you could basically get both of our services for the price of one. And in fact, right now, I believe it's still the early bird price. So we've gotten a lot of people taking advantage of this. And if you like to play a lot more games than one handicapper, this is the great way to do it. He gives you totals, I give you sides, and hopefully we'll give you a lot of winning this season.
Phenomenal. Great stuff, Bryan. Thanks for joining us. Bryan Leonard, everybody. You can find him at WagerTalk.com. Let's get into the penalty box. That was funky. I like that song there, Joe. Guys, I got 3 NHL free picks to give you, but before we get into that, I'm going to use part of my penalty box to just vent. And maybe Teddy could help me out after. I am a grown adult. I'm 52 in May. I don't understand what the hell is up with the people who need to get on Twitter and piss us off. Is it their penis size? Is it their lack of sessions with women? I don't know what it is, but I mean, yesterday I had a guy come onto Twitter and just said, Prez, you lost every game this week. You suck. I literally won every game, and I don't suck, and I don't understand why they're doing this. Then another guy logs Twitter yesterday, says, Prez, another terribly boring tweet. I went and looked at him. This guy had been on Twitter since 2011. He had 87 followers. I responded with, I'm guessing your 87 followers must really appreciate your epic masterpieces. Why do people do this? It doesn't bother me. I actually enjoy the hate. I don't understand why it happens. We are grown adults. What the hell is wrong with you people? Anyway, 3 hockey plays. Let's go. Flyers and Sabres. I like the over here. Flyers need to get going. They need to put their offense, get their offense in sync. Nothing like playing Buffalo to fix that. The number is 6. Buffalo's going to put up a few. And I do like the Flyers over the total. I also don't mind Buffalo. They're going to win a game, and it's going to be soon. I like the New York Islanders, just like Bryan said. I think it's a great spot for them, especially after they got slaughtered by Pittsburgh in their last game. And I also like under the total in Toronto and Edmonton. Those are my 3 NHL bets. I am betting all 3. Teddy, I only have about 6,000 Twitter followers. You have about 60,000. Why? Do these people have mental issues? Who can you imagine me just showing up to somebody's work randomly and just start screaming at their boss lies about them. Why? I don't get it. I don't get it.
So I don't have 60,000 Twitter followers. I have, I think, 46 or 47,000. But thank you. Someday we'll get there. When you're talking about Twitter, okay, Twitter is what it is, my friend. You let it run. It's if ever there's a forum or a venue where you want to have thick skin, as handicappers, we're going to get criticized. All right, we rip ourselves as much as anybody. Yeah, and as handicappers, you develop I remember the first time I got ripped online. I'm like, oh my God, I was all mad. 20 years later, I don't care. Say whatever you want. Feel free to do whatever you want on Twitter. That's just the nature of the beast, Prez. Yep. It is what it is. You don't let it freak you out. You don't let it stress you out.
Oh, no, Teddy.
And you don't engage with people that are
I always
just
engage.
Trying to get your, they're just trying to get your Irish.
Teddy, I mostly engage with the hate guys because I have so much fun with it. I send back stuff like Jesus loves you. I wish you and your family nothing but the best. I always take the high road, but I love engaging with the hate guys, and then I block them. But just for the record, Teddy, it doesn't bother me. Like, I enjoy it. I just don't understand it. Like, we're not like in school and we're like 12 and someone has the cooties. Like, we're grown adults. Why? I don't understand why people and the outright lies. Like, if you buy my package, you go 0-5, you want to go on Twitter and bitch me out, respect. But I mean, like, I went like 3-0 yesterday, and the guy literally logged onto Twitter and said, you lost all your games today. Why?
Because you have cooties. Now, speaking of cooties, let's wrap up the show. And you've had how many rants today? Have you had enough rants, Prez? Yeah, he's gone now. Thank the Lord. I want to thank Bryan, Leonard. I want to thank Marco D'Angelo. And I want to thank you guys for hanging out part of your busy Monday, spring break week here in Vegas. Enjoy the games tonight. Good luck. We'll be back again tomorrow, 23 hours and 15 minutes from now, right here with another edition of WagerTalk Today. Cheers.
Each and every Monday is $9 Monday at WagerTalk.com. All daily picks packages are priced at only $9, including $40 5% best bets. As an added bonus, all new users will receive $25 in wager bucks credited to their accounts, available for immediate use after their initial $9 Monday purchase. So make sure to take advantage of $9 Mondays at WagerTalk.com.